Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am the Maze Madman. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button for me and the notification bell so you're aware every time I upload a video. In today's video, we're talking Rece Davis and what he had to say about Michigan. Plus, the #1 offensive tackle in the country is set to visit Michigan, along with another top target at offensive tackle, and I'll explain why defensive line may be the next rush for Michigan after these offensive line targets and commitments. Plus, Michigan makes the top 12 for an in-state wide receiver, all that, and of course, I'm upset. Got 5,000 for you. Help me set this wolf trap. Started a new strain smoking. Your man is here, wolf pack. Let's get into it. Michigan will be hosting the #1 offensive tackle in the country, Brandon Baker, early next week. This is a visit that was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago. Brandon Baker had to reschedule, but he will be on campus early next week. This is a big visit for Michigan because he is scheduling official visits. This is not going to be an official visit. This is an unofficial visit. And right now he only has 2 official visits set, one to the other state and the other to Georgia. So Michigan can really do themselves a favor and get in good with Brandon Baker and get themselves an official visit later this year. This is just off the backs of the momentum that Michigan has already gotten from their recruiting so far in the 2024 class, including at offensive tackle and along the offensive line, just period, with commitments like Luke Hamilton, Andrew Sprague, the list goes on. Of course, there's still Max Anderson out there. Bennett Warren is another highly sought after offensive tackle that is considering Michigan. So this is right in along with that. Moving right along and keeping it along the offensive line while trying to set up an official visit for Brandon Baker, Michigan will be hosting another top target along the offensive line for an official visit in June. In fact, June 16th through the 18th, Michael Uini out of Texas will be officially visiting Michigan. He is a 6'7", 290-pound mauler, the 4-star out of Copperas Cove, Texas, will be visiting Michigan June 16th through the 18th. And just looking at his film, he is completely dominating the competition, and that is a great thing. And Michigan obviously is doing a great job along the offensive line with recruiting and developing along the offensive line. Having someone like Uini would just be adding to an already rich tradition and a deep position group for Michigan. So look forward to that. I'll keep you posted if anything changes or if there's any additions to this visit or anything like that. Before we move on to our next segment, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below. Who would you like to see Michigan land of these offensive targets? And I'm not just offensive line targets. I'm not just talking about Michael Uini and Brandon Baker. Obviously, there's Bennett Warren, Max Anderson still out there, Walt Claire Flynn. So Michigan still has some of their top targets still available. And who would you like to see them land? Moving right along. Michigan recently made the top 12 for in-state wide receiver target Nick Marsh. Marsh, you may remember, was committed to little brother Michigan State. He decommitted a couple of months ago. Marsh is a 6'3", 195-pound beast. If you look at his film, he caught one ball with one hand. I don't know if I have the film for it, but it was incredible. He is out of River Rouge, which is basically Detroit, so it's not far from Ann Arbor at all. He is rated the 86th recruit nationally, the number 14 wide receiver nationally, and the 3rd ranked recruit in the state of Michigan in the 2024 class. He along with Michigan or Lil Bronem, Michigan made his top 12 that included schools like Notre Dame, UCLA, Penn State, and Oklahoma, just to name a few. So the competition is stiff, but again, this is one right in Michigan's backyard. And I'm sure getting a commitment from Nicholas Marsh in this class would go a long way in helping them to recruit and land 2025 number 1 quarterback Bryce Underwood. So I look forward to it. I just, even if it doesn't help in the recruitment of Bryce Underwood, which I don't see how I wouldn't, landing somebody like Nick Marsh is big for Michigan, who doesn't really have like a big receiver in this class, or in really the last class. This is kind of like the big body Braylon Edwards type receiver that Michigan really covets at this moment. They are recruiting kids like Amarion Stewart, who I'm really big on and high on, who has great footwork, but he is not nearly the size of a kid like Nick Marsh. So I'll keep you posted on this recruitment as it moves forward and progresses, but this one should be exciting, and I am excited for Michigan to potentially land Marsh. But like I said, I'll keep you posted. Moving along to the defensive line, and this is where I think we have the next rush of Michigan commitments is along the defensive line. When you think about kids like Brian Robinson, Dylan Stewart, and I'm not saying that he's going to be one that commits, but these are obviously Michigan targets. Brian Robinson, Dylan Stewart, Dominic Nichols, Jerod Smith. These are all the kinds of guys that Michigan is after and recruiting. And we're going to go with Jerod Smith for this one here. He recently received 4 crystal balls in Michigan's favor. He has a total of 5 crystal balls. The other one to Kentucky, but that was back in like 21 or 22. So Jerod Smith, whose brother Jacob Smith is also a 4-star edge. Jerod Smith, more just a defensive lineman, 4-star defensive lineman out of Cheshire, Connecticut, attending Cheshire Academy. This would also be a massive, massive get for Michigan, as it was thought early that Smith and his brother Jacob were Notre Dame leans, and as much as Notre Dame was eating Michigan's lunch last season, it looks like the roles have reversed in the recruiting this season, as Michigan is favored to land or has landed a lot of Notre Dame targets, and this would just be another coup along those lines and would be very big for Michigan to land Jerod Smith. Jerod Smith is officially 6'3", 265 pounds of a monster. He would be massive in the middle of that Michigan defensive line. Michigan is also heavy after the number 1, or actually he may be number 2 defensive interior lineman or defensive lineman, Justin Scott, but he'll be on my next video and what he had to say about Michigan's newest quarterback commit, 5-star out of Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina, Jaden Davis, who has been recruiting him. But Jerod Smith, again, would be a huge land for Michigan, and I think that Michigan will land Jerod Smith, and it may even help them in recruiting his brother Jacob Smith, but we shall see. Moving along from Jerod Smith, but keeping it along the defensive line, as I mentioned previously, Michigan is also the front runner to land Dominic Nichols out of Maryland. Dominic Nichols, also a 4-star. He is a 4-star edge out of Maryland, in that DMV area where Michigan is really hitting hard. He would also be a tremendous addition to Michigan's 2024 class, and I do expect Michigan to go hard for Nichols. Here's the thing. There has been some talk about how many people along the defensive line and even the offensive line that Michigan would be willing to take. Right now, they still have a lot of their top targets still out there and available, and I think, landing someone like Dominic Nichols would not, exclude Michigan from continuing to recruit people like Brian Robinson or Darian Mayo or even Dylan Stewart, who Michigan covets highly. Well, everyone in the country covets highly, but I don't think that landing Dominic Nichols or even Jared Smith would preclude them from still going after those top targets. In fact, I think it kind of helps them in the recruitment of certain guys, just to show that, hey, we can still go out here and land top recruits, right? That being said, Nichols out of Iamsville, Maryland, 6'4", 235 pound, very athletically built. So this is another one that I do think Michigan will land. I also think I give Michigan the edge for Brian Robinson, obviously. And the fact that Darian Mayo has made Michigan his final OV, along with his teammate, Aaron Childs, both of them will be making their official visits the same day, June 23rd, I think is a big deal for Michigan. I expect Michigan to land both of those guys, but I'll also elaborate on that in my next video. Moving on to our final topic of the day. Rece Davis, the lead man for ESPN's College Gameday, had some interesting things to say about Michigan this upcoming season, and you can hear it here.
To improve greatly. Michigan has a proven quarterback that I think is going to improve greatly this year. They've got the best cornerback in America in Will Johnson. They've got some transfers on both lines of scrimmage, including a pass rusher that should shore up some of the things that they've lost. They've done a really good job in the transfer portal the last couple of years, particularly on the lines of scrimmage. They've got their running backs coming back, a couple of wide receivers that might even be bigger threats, transfer tight end from Indiana, I believe. I think if I had to fill out the ballot right now based on what I know, the type of production I know I'm going to get, I think I'd put Michigan number one.
Well, this is probably the best thing I've heard from ESPN as it pertains to Michigan in a long time. Obviously, that FPI is disgusting, giving Michigan only a 14% chance to win the Big Ten this upcoming season, which is just absurd in my opinion. But anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think about Rece Davis's comments, what you think about ESPN's FPI. What do you think about Michigan's defensive line recruiting? All of that in the comment section. And of course, we have reached that time where we like to hand out those Triple M shout outs. I know there are some people that have been asking for the shout out, and I have promised to give them the shout out. I can't think of it right now, but I definitely will on the next video. If I miss you today, I apologize. It is coming though. Let's get to it. David Wright, shout out to you, sir. You are officially a madman. Next on the list, Donnie Simons. Shout out to you. You are officially a madman. And last but not least, today we are going to give a shout out to Otis John Jr. You are officially a madman. Thank you for the support. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram now at Maze Madman. The TikTok is coming as well, where I'll have a lot of like quick shorts and things like that. So be sure to follow me there. It will be Maze Madman as well. And until next time, stay angry, my friends, because I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. Our ratings